how creepy is it when I intend things like, I have probably intended for my neighbor to let his dog in on a cold night. I have probably, look, for as much as I say that voodoo I don't do, that's is that crossing a line in your opinion? How do I know what's best for him to bring that dog in? I mean, obviously, I think I know that dog is better off inside in a warm place than in a freezing Utah cold winter. But is that creepy that I'm doing that?
I think there's a big difference between that. So that is, it's a generous intention. It's rooted in compassion. It's coming from a place of sort of recognizing whatever's in that moment. Like, that's really different than like setting up an altar in a vision board and listening to guided meditations with somebody's name in them all the time.
I hope you're not being generous with me.
No, I mean, of course we do that. I mean, and I don't think there's anything wrong with.
Well, wouldn't it be cleaner if what I said was just, whatever is in highest service of this dog? Maybe I could add a person in there. If I just said that and released attachment to what it looks like. How do I know? Maybe, look, I have had chows. They do sometimes prefer to be outside. I don't know. My big spiel about how it's so arrogant for me to think I know what's best, and yet there I practice it, thinking that's cool.
Yeah, it would be cleaner to say whatever's in the highest. Yeah, that would be cleaner. Oh, my goodness, Bella, please. She's listening to us have conversations about dogs, and she has an opinion. Of course that would be cleaner. But we're born with desires for a reason. So I would say, actually, that in a universe where all things are connected, where we are not separate, where you can't actually cut yourself off from the experience of that dog, that desire that you feel may be the pull of the universe asking you to move some energy to get the dog inside. I don't think we're that separate.
Oh, I like that idea too.
But again, you didn't set up an altar to the safety of the dog, did you? Are you setting up altars in your bedroom?
No, now that you mention it. No. Tell me how that works, my friend. No, I'm just joking. I cannot tell you how many times I'll respond to someone saying, yeah, okay, here's why you probably don't want to do that. And they'll be like, yeah, I get it, but really, how do you do it? Just give me a hint. It'll be fine. I won't misuse this power. I'm sure he wants to be with me, too. Ay.
Right, so that's the cue, though, right there, okay? The word that you just used, fun. If you're doing it and it still feels fun, rock it out. I'm just going to say that. Like, I don't think there's right and wrong or good and bad and good desires and bad desires. If you've got the hots for somebody and you're using law of attraction and you're playing with that with fun energy, you're clean. If it starts to get darker, if it starts to get stickier, as Abraham would say, if it's turning on you, you get out, because that's your cue. It's not a right and wrong. It's a feel good or feel bad. So, I mean, if you want to set up an altar to your neighbor's dog's well-being and you're laughing about that and it's light and you giggle every time you light the candle and that feels like a joyful expression of your creative powers, go for it. But chances are, if you're really dialed down on, oh my God, I want Rod, the guy who works in the tech department, like chances are high you're not going to be able to stay in that fun, light, giggly, creative, expansive energy. Fun might be the compass point, I think.
Well, we know, that's powerful energy there. Anytime we can get lighter with something, and that's why that wild hair works so well that you referenced earlier, right? When you approach something like that, that's magic energy because it is free of attachment. It has no charge on it.
And I've seen that wild hair. I mean, I've seen people. I had a client a couple of years ago who used a celebrity wild hair, her celebrity muse, and the guy that she is married to now looks so much like that man. It's unbelievable, except I believe he's probably more awesome. like this and something better, dude, she nailed that. But she didn't have a lot of attachment to, Pierce Brosnan. She was able to spin the energy.
I think if a person truly were highly self-aware and they paid attention to how something felt, they can feel when it starts to get a little kinky, a little not so clean.
Mhm. And I think that's the hardest part about deliberate creation is being honest with ourselves about that. When is this clean and when is this not clean? I mean, old school Abraham, you probably remember it. Old school Abraham used to say, get in and get out. Get in for 30 seconds, and then the minute it shifts, get out. Get in for 60 seconds if you can, and the minute it starts to turn on you, the second, the moment it starts to shift, get out. And we know the difference, but when we're really in a strong state of attachment, we're willing to override that. We're willing to override that and just continue to scrunch our butt cheeks together and grit our teeth and try and do the work.
Agreed. And so intending, so that makes me wonder, Lisa, if just we could save ourselves a whole lot of manifesting effort by just intending our highest well-being and calling that good instead of thinking we have to micromanage our way to happiness.
I think we have to intend our highest well-being, but then we also have to activate it. Intending it in and of itself is not necessarily enough. You can't want something bad enough to get it. You've still got to be willing to be it.
Agreed.
Okay, should we do the next question?
Let's do. What else are we playing with today?
Next question was, why do people get so hung up on needing someone else to deliver their happiness?
Yeah, even for people who know, theoretically, intellectually, that external circumstances cannot change how we feel. That's always an inside job. Even people who theoretically know that, I know because I've been one, where I get attached to something happening or not happening in order for me to feel better. It's happening right now. Today I've got kittens who are taking the next step to their permanent homes, and man, I could feel myself getting wound up about how important it feels that they go to perfect, permanent, loving families. And that's me suspending my good vibrations for a particular outcome. In the context that question comes to me is usually in the form of, my life is going to feel complete once I find my your soulmate. You get that one a lot too, right? Where your book came from, correct?
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, in my line of work and yours, it's like I've got everything, I've done everything, and that word complete, it's not complete until I find that person, until blah, 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 until really sort of suspending your complete happiness package. You're on the economy package of happiness, and you're not going to be on the luxury package of happiness until you find, attract, and nail down that man or woman. And I've been there. I've done that very thing, actually. And I think we're actually, as a program, as a society, we're programmed to think that you're not done. You're not done until you get there. But then we know you're not ever done. Once you get there, you're still not done.
Yeah, I think that's actually one way many people learn the truth of this is by living that experience. You
attract the thing that you thought you really needed to have, and then you're still not. You're still looking for something else.
Yeah, this wasn't it. I mean, I think that's what happens to a lot of naive first-time marriage or spouses. The ones who thought, oh, I'm going to live happily ever after. I got my guy. He's fabulous. and then you step into it, and it's like, well, I did this when I was building my coaching practice. I imagined that once I quit my corporate job that I was so stressed out with, and I thought, I'll be happy when I build a thriving coaching practice to know that, yes, I can support myself doing what I love. And when I had a full-time thriving coaching practice 3 months later, I still was flowing the vibration of stress because that's all I'd been practicing. I hadn't practiced anything else. So even though I micromanaged the results, what my life looked like, to match what I instructed universe day after day after day, I'm a brilliant coach in high demand. It's made it so, but it didn't change how my life felt. And I would have thought that was impossible. Of course I'll be happy when I get what I want. Hello, that's what I wanted. No, myth. And it happens in relationships and love a lot.
Well, and I think it's worse in love to some degree. The stakes are higher because if you're trying to attract a partner from a point of need for something, you're going to attract a relationship that mirrors that need, and you haven't just duplicated your need, you've like squared it. Like whatever was missing in you, when you bring that second person in, or that third person or that fourth person, whatever lights your fire, and you, like all of that, if you're not complete, you're not going to fix your not completeness with someone else. You're going to amplify the not completeness with someone else. These are people. I mean, so we're literally doubling and tripling down on the bet for what we didn't have. Does that make sense? Am I being clear on that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really profound way to look at it. I mean, when a person understands that, I think it can change everything potentially.
So, I mean, Abraham says it all the time, just go get happy, which is, I actually get a little irritated when I hear Abraham say go get happy. I get irritated at you sometimes when you say it. Like, how?
You said
how?
And yet, this is in your book. Like, you give instructions. Like, before you can be loved by someone else, you got to love your own self and have your own life that you love before you're calling someone in on that party.
I firmly believe, I mean, and I know that you don't believe in one soulmate. I don't know that I necessarily do. The word soulmate itself is kind of charged, but we'll just use it because it's easy. Like a soulmate connotates the background energy on that is that this is an ideal, and a lot of people would say it's not. Some people would, on Elephant Journal, you can read 100 articles about how your soulmate is your most complicated relationship. But that's not what we're really talking about here. We're talking about an ideal, peak experience, deeply connected relationship, an ideal love. You have to be living an ideal life to be able to attract that, to be vibrationally aligned with things that are that awesome. It's not possible to get in that vibrational territory if you're living a subpar existence on your own. And I mean, subpar existence might be rocking in a lot of ways, but if you're not at your highest vibrational state, it doesn't make any sense to think that you can attract a highest vibrational relationship from that point. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and again, I think people who are familiar with conscious creation can understand that theoretically and still not necessarily practice it. I know plenty do, plenty do, but the ones who reach out for coaching, the ones who are often still struggling with that aspect of it.
So, I mean, I think it's relatively, I'm going to use the word easy, and I giggle. It's relatively easy. Ha. Figure out what it is that you think a relationship is going to do for you. Figure out what you think that new job is going to give you. Figure out what you think that new car is going to give you. And go out and find as many ways as you can to feed that to your own self. If you think a relationship is going to make you feel secure, then go out and figure out how to get really, really secure. If you think a relationship is going to make you feel loved, if you think it's going to make you feel sexy, go out and start spoon feeding, shoveling that on your own self.
Yeah, find ways to feel that way now. And you and I we always land in the same place. I mean, that's a vibrational thing with you. I kind of like the action approach.
Like if
Well, I
you're
think it's
looking
the
for
same
this
thing.
kind of energy, go do it. Right.
It's vibrational both ways, but sometimes it's the action that helps us